Okay, folks, turn 18. So Star Charger did in fact attack Mimer. He launched his troops from Abrawari to hit me, and of course I had my troops in defense. So 145 Sentinels of Gorsasso, a Zeron medium cruiser, 2 TK bikes, 6 CR orgs, and 50 all-terrain rovers. We had well over a 2-to-1 firepower advantage, and so we crushed him with minimal losses. I lost about 20 firepower, he lost all 92. It was a bold strategy, it was a bold attack. I don't think it was really justified. He has 91 firepower here in Abrawari. Actually, I don't recall. Did he actually just leave the fleet there? So when he captured it... No, so this fleet moved to attack. Most of it, because 103 hit a TAPS, 4 XMCs, and then when he attacked Mimer... Yeah, so he left 1 XMC behind, but he took the whole rest of the fleet and got wiped out. And he's moved a whole bunch more firepower in. So these are all reinforcements that have arrived on Abrawari this turn. Now, having lost Mimer, he's in really kind of a pickle. I also recaptured Jabrea, so my fleets landed there. He had 80 Sentinels of Gorsasso. We just rolled over it, and we lost less than 10 firepower. He's in a little bit of a pickle, and we are launching our counter attack. So over here, we've got well over 200 firepower on Soy Boy. We've got 5 Zeron Heavy Cruiser V2s. There's no realistic chance of him taking that, considering that his whole empire only has 671 firepower. My empire, meanwhile, has a little over 1,000, and I still haven't cracked the top 10. Star Charger has put himself in a very, very bad position, I would say, by doing this. Hork, interestingly, has 79 firepower on it. It's close to Plataponia. It's technically in Plataponia's territory, but I could potentially take it. We've agreed on a border already, so I won't. But we've got more troops coming to Mimer. We have 2 more fleets coming to Mimer, and this is interesting because the fleet coming from Twin Clouds is 140 units away. Well, Twin Clouds is exactly 280 units away from me, and last turn he had a bunch of Megabot V3s here, which have 140 speed. So I think he's launched his Megabot V3s towards Mimer, which is a big gamble on his part, and it's not going to pay off, because I'm going to churn out another 70 Sentinels of Gorsasso this turn. Majestic Slug is arriving. I also have Grim Avocado, this fleet. I love the names of the fleets, by the way. The randomly generated names are fantastic. I also have this fleet coming in, so 2 more CR Orgs, 35 more TK tanks, and some Super Space Fighters also arriving this turn. And then I think that's about it. Landing on Mimer this turn. Let me see, going to... Yeah, so I've got another 130 plus firepower landing on Mimer. Overall, Mimer is going to have well over half the firepower of Star Charger's entire empire. He's not going to be able to take it. So those fleets are going to be lost. He may well throw these troops in just in an attempt to get as much firepower concentrated there as possible, which, I mean, I'd respect. Like, at the very least, that gives him the chance of doing the most damage. I don't know that he's going to do that. He may write those Megabots off for lost and strike out in some other direction. From Abrawari, this fleet moves at speed 90. And so it can hit Mira. It can hit Mimer, obviously. It can't actually hit anywhere else in one turn. And I think it could go for Serendipity, which it would hit in 2 turns without being seen. Anywhere else within 2 turns, I think, would see it. Actually, Relay would not, and Forsworn would not. Kandra would. And of course Arion would, because Arion has a Sensor 200 on it. Arion is still building CR Orgs. I have a ton of Ultranium built up here, so I'm going to actually swap to churning out some chaff really quickly as soon as this lock is over, because I have a lot of capital units and not much chaff. Still building TK bikes over here. We're actually going to take those 3 TK bikes and launch them at Jabakunda. So, 3 turns, the counter-strike will land on Jabakunda. Currently, I have about 240 firepower landing on Jabakunda in 3 turns. Soy Boy is 2 turns away from Jabakunda by Zeron Heavy Cruiser, so we're going to add at least another 150 firepower that way. And I think we're going to just absolutely stomp Jabakunda out and then advance on Twin Clouds. As I've said, he just doesn't have the firepower to stop me. He's concentrating his firepower towards me a lot, but like a lot actually, because we can see here he has, like I said, about 600, a little over 600 in his empire. We've got 110 visible there, 170 some, about 195, 200 some odd. Between those three, we've got another 70. So we've got about like 320, 330 firepower visible. He has 671, so he's got a lot moving. He may actually, I mean, if he's concentrating that all on Mimer, he may actually be able to take Mimer, because that is a lot of firepower. But I don't think he has quite that much mobile. I don't think. Right now I have 250 firepower here. We're building another 70 Sentinels of Garsasso, so that's another 20 some odd, adding another 127 there. I mean, it'll be well over almost 400 firepower here in Mimer. I think I can hold it against Star Charger's entire empire. I think it's a case of just, you know, damn the torpedoes, come and try and take it. So that should be fine. We should have a pretty climactic battle here this turn, actually, because these guys will hit this turn. The troops from Jabakunda will not arrive this turn, however many there are. So we'll see what happens there. But Twin Clouds, I think we're going to hold. And then Soy Boy is building up to join the attack on Jabakunda. We'll launch our counter-strike. We'll get into Star Charger's area. We also have to worry about Koneko, because this right here, Zagrovic, there's no reason for this fleet to be here unless he's aiming it at me. This fleet is speed 120, which is just enough to hit Jabrea. Just enough. So, and it has 350 carrying capacity, which I think is also just enough to be carrying this fleet. So I'm thinking that he's going to hit Jabrea. We're building X6 instigators on Jabrea. Jabrea, I've concentrated a lot of population and Ultranium there, actually. I don't really want to waste troops guarding it is the thing. But I'll tell you what, it's 88 units away, so what I can do is I can take those Zeron heavy cruisers. They can carry these guys. They can take these super space fighters and the Zenrin war monks for chaff. So I can put 160 firepower of my own on Jabrea, and from Jabrea, it can still hit Jabakunda in 2 turns. So that'll be fine. It's actually, Jabakunda is actually exactly equidistant from these two. So if they attack Jabrea, if Koneko 314 attacks Jabrea, we'll have a big old fight. I should hopefully be able to stop him. It'll be very, very annoying if I can't. But we'll just kind of see. Kivilandia is a very large planet, by the way. He's concentrated a lot of stuff there. If we look at top worlds by population, Platyponia is actually well up the rankings. And what's this, owned by Furry Trash? It has 6,600 population. Very, very impressive. I haven't concentrated nearly to this extent, interestingly. And the top world by firepower is Double Downs right now, which has, my god, a lot of N-class battle station V3s. Good for you, dude. So, in any case, that's the turn, and I will see you all in turn 19. Alright, folks, so it's turn 19. This is the first turn on which I've really done a lot, what I would call a lot of diplomacy. So, first of all, Star Charger did hit us with 92 firepower and completely bounced. Absolutely destroyed. Kadesh bounced a little faint, Flinch bounced a little faint, and Travail dropped in with another 120 firepower onto Mira. So he's got about 110 firepower here. Now, I've been in close contact with both Star Charger and Travail. Star Charger offered unilaterally to end the war because, the reason is because although he's been attacking me the whole time, I have been improving in terms of firepower, population, and net worth, and he has not. Mainly because he's lost over 200 firepower trying to take Mimer. Now, I currently have 1,240 firepower. And if we look at my watch list and sort it by firepower, you'll notice Travail has slightly more, 1,400, and more population. Placid Platypus has more firepower, but way less population on many fewer worlds. Then Star Charger is down here with 675. He's lost more than a quarter of his empire's total cumulative firepower, well more than a quarter, fighting one world of mine, and I've taken very low casualties. This is why he's offering to end the war, because he knows it's not going anywhere. At this point, I actually have the capacity to, if I concentrated my forces, invade him with firepower almost equal to the complete and total fleets of his empire, while also defending mine with an equivalent force. So it's not going to work out for him. So we've agreed to a non-aggression pact for the remainder of the game, actually. He's going to pull out of Abrawari. There are some fleets of his incoming to various different worlds that we will just have to let kind of bounce. And after he hits my worlds there, he has agreed to bounce off and go elsewhere, which is fine by me. Likewise, Travail. Travail knows that he's a long way away from me. It's hard for him to support his fleets properly. It's hard for him to coordinate properly. So he is also agreed to just bounce off and go his merry way. And so I won't be fighting either of them anymore. Over here, I'm building more CR Orgs and then a whole bunch of X5 Raiders because Arion is well behind the front lines. I can burn some of this Ultranium without hurting. I could actually really use some of this Ultranium on Soy Boy. So what I think I'm going to do here is, I don't want to make any of these auto fleets do anything else, but Piranhas is building more TK bikes. I would love to get another couple of Psy Haulers. They're just very expensive right now. So in a couple turns, I may churn out another Psy Hauler or two on Piranhas and send it to Arion to grab some of this Ultranium and take it over to Soy Boy so that I can buy something important over there. Meantime, who I am going to be fighting is Koneko, because I contacted Koneko. He demanded 3 worlds. I said no. He said, okay, well, I guess we're fighting. So I guess we're fighting. He's got a lot of firepower in the air, as I happen to know. I have a pretty significant fleet on Jabrea, and it's a fleet that I can reinforce. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to deploy 3 more Zeron heavy cruisers to Jabrea. That's another 64 firepower. Jabrea has a lot of firepower on it currently, a little bit shy of chaff, but with that many heavy cruisers, I think we'll probably be able to swing it. This fleet is actually a paper tiger because there are no transports here, so he can't move any of these units except for the X6 instigators. I'm just thinking that he might have something already in flight coming for Jabrea. However, Travail has a fleet hitting Jabrea in 2 turns that's going to be bouncing off, so I'm going to have a fleet here for 1 more turn, then I'm going to pull back just as Travail lands and let him hit the place. And that will be just fine. Concentrate a little bit more firepower there. Gahoon also still churning out TK bikes. And Soy Boy's just really, really short on Ultranium. So I think what I want to do here is I want to actually cancel the I want to actually stop producing XMCs probably. Build up a little bit more Ultranium here. And buy the license for Giganto Planet Attackers. Because I think Giganto Planet Attackers would be very, very useful in this situation. I've got 800, I've got about 1,000 Ultranium coming in, so I think I'm just going to cancel that, not build anything this turn, and then next turn I should be able to buy that license. It is going to be a little bit disruptive having to dance around the hits from Travail and Star Charger from their fleets they had already set in motion. And, of course, I do have my fleets. I have a fleet hitting Abrawari to take it back this turn. And, of course, I have all of my fleets hitting Jabakunda in 2 turns. I've let Star Charger know about that, so there shouldn't be any problems. Why is this fleet going to Mira? Yes, in 2 turns. Okay, so yeah, I've got fleets hitting Jabakunda in 2 turns and in 4 turns. So I will let Star Charger know, and then I'll ricochet off there to attack Adim or Thermonody or one of these Koneko worlds. So Travail and Star Charger and I have both all basically agreed not to attack each other for the remainder of the game. I also, of course, have non-aggression pacts with Plataponia and with CFRT 2007, so my flanks should basically be secure. H-Cobb is over here in Plataponia's cluster. I doubt he's going to attack me. That would be pretty strange. I don't think he's gonna. So I think all I have to do basically for the remainder of the game is try to beat up Koneko. Now, Koneko is going to be a very even fight because Koneko has approximately my same firepower at the moment. However, he has a lot less population than I do. So I should, if I can leverage my population properly, I should be able to outproduce him and generate more value. Now, he does have a ton of population and a ton of Ultranium on Kittylandia, but what that means actually is that he's not using it efficiently. Now, that also, I mean, same goes for me. I have a ton of Ultranium and a ton of population on Arion, which also means I'm not using it efficiently, but I'm trying to fix that with the X5 Raiders and the CR Orgs. Orgs are more expensive, but I'm still buying them because I can still afford them. With 3,800 Ultranium on Arion, I can afford it. So, our Ultranium stockpiles are going to be dipping somewhat, but I'm going to keep churning out the Orgs for a little while. And launching them over here to help the fight against Kittylandia, against Koneko, who is relying mainly, it looks like, on CR Org 2's upgraded. So in any case, that is the turn, and I'll see you all in turn 20. We'll see how it goes. I anticipate a strike coming in from Koneko very shortly here, and hopefully I'll be able to repel that and counterattack effectively. So, see you next time. Alright, so it's turn 20. Negotiations have basically completed with both Star Charger and Travail. As I mentioned, there are fleets bouncing off some of my world, but that's fine. This fleet is going to hit Mimer and just splash. I'm pretty sure that's a feint fleet with some Nozama fighters. We are engaging in war against Koneko. So Kandra is actually Travail's going to hit it and stay there for a couple turns and then bounce off. Forsworn, I'm moving in to retake this turn. Serendipity, I'm moving in to retake this turn. I'm going to lose Jabrea temporarily once again. But as before, he will hit Jabrea, bounce off, I'll move in and retake it. However, I won't move in and retake it with Stately Weasel. This fleet is moving back to Kadesh, and we are ramping up for our war on Koneko. Now, I think this war might be fairly straightforward because, for a couple of reasons. First of all, I have all these units hitting Jabakunda. This is well over 200 firepower. It's going to hit Jabakunda, which has nothing left on it, basically, because I let Star Charger know about this, and bounce off and hit Adim 2 turns later. So 3 turns from now, we're going to land on Adim with well over 200 firepower. Second, I have this fleet on Jabrea, which is bouncing back to Kadesh, where they will be joined by some other units, or Kadesh or places similar. And from Kadesh, that's 170, isn't it? Damn. Tell you what, I'm going to send these guys right at Zagrovic. Zagrovic doesn't have any sensors on it, and neither does Adim, so they shouldn't be able to see these attacks coming. I've got a number of TK Bikes V2 that I can use to reinforce. I'm buying the GPA license here on Soy Boy, and I'm starting to churn them out, which I can do very, very quickly, and with relatively little Ultranium cost. I've got more Ultranium coming in there and there, so I should be able to be pumping out like 2 or 3 Gigantoplanet attackers pretty much every turn forever, hopefully. We'll take Serendipity back, and of course we'll use that as more income, and we've got Kadesh and all that good stuff. Mimer is critically short on Ultranium because it's been producing a lot of stuff, so we're once again just waiting on that. I'm thinking I need to find something cheap for Mimer to produce that's high complexity but low cost. I don't have a good option right now because Boron Recon Buggies are actually quite expensive at the moment. Otherwise, I'd be doing them and upgrading them because upgrades are a great way to bring down total price. But even so, right now it will be 47 cost to 100 complexity, which is not a great ratio. If that goes down back into the 20s, then I'll start churning out Boron Recon Buggies and upgrading them, which will be an efficient use of my population vis-a-vis my Ultranium. In terms of capital ships, nothing is particularly cheap except HC4 space runways, which are very, very slow, but could potentially be useful as defensive units because they give a big bonus to to fighters. We've talked about them before. N-class battleships are also relatively cheap, as are OSA to incinerators. But in every case, I'd have to buy the license first, and I don't have enough Ultranium for a license. So Mimer is just sitting here twiddling its metaphorical thumbs at the moment, unfortunately. But yeah, we're going to hit both of these worlds in 3 turns with a lot of firepower. And one reason why I think this is going to work out pretty well, yeah, you can just go down to Soy Boy, Angry Lightning. One reason I think this is going to work out pretty well is that Koneko just fought a major battle and lost. So turn 17, the tech defended Quaklum. I'm not sure how he's losing these because the tech, I don't think, has taken a move in a long time, actually. Well, actually, he may be taking moves, but in any case, he's built up a ton of defenses on Ectonia. And so, including a bunch of Megabot V3s and Megabot V4. So actually, I lied. The tick is taking moves, just not many of them. And he's turtling very, very defensively. He did lose Quaklum on turn 18 to Travail. But, and yeah, I guess he attacked a few different places with just single Megabot V3s. He attacked Thurgton with a single Megabot V3. But so Kaneko concentrated all his forces to attack Ectonia, and he just did not have the firepower. I'm not sure why he would take this fight, actually. But in any case, it only lasted 5 rounds, and he got obliterated. He killed a whole bunch of the population of Ectonia, but in the process, and he did whittle down the firepower, but in the process, he lost a huge amount of firepower. I mean, like, that fleet was almost 500 firepower in a game where none of the empires so far have cracked. I don't think anybody's cracked 2,000 so far in terms of firepower. Yeah, Nubby, who is at the very top of the rankings, is just about to crack 2,000. So Kaneko just lost over, like, almost half of his total firepower, the total firepower in his empire, in that one disastrous battle. And he killed about half of what he lost, because this fleet was very, very punchy, and so it hit really, really hard. So as a result, he's actually got almost nothing left in the area. We've got Farstar over here, whose color I actually need to change because he's too much like Kaneko. We'll make him lavender. So we've got Farstar over here. Farstar is busy fighting U-Bones, who is just eating him up, it looks like. U-Bones is another very good old player. Ectonia is still here, still very well defended. It's a pretty hard nut to crack. Travail has... Yeah, he's moved off of that world. But, so, Kaneko, I think pretty much all of his firepower is visible, if I've counted right. And the vast majority of it is in 2 places. Kittylandia and Zagrovic. Zagrovic has 330 some firepower. Kittylandia has 267. Between them, they have well over 600, and he only has 750 left in his whole empire. So, that being so, the invasion fleets that I'm launching to hit in 3 turns currently, I think, outweigh his empire, actually. He just doesn't have much to stop them. Now, he can turtle, but I think Zagrovic especially, because I've got right now, like, that's well over 200, and then I've also got the troops that are hopping back to Kadesh, which are 250, plus we're going to launch some troops from Soy Boy and concentrate our TK bikes. That guy will be upgraded to a heavy cruiser, which will push him up to speed 100, so he'll go. And I think, yeah, I think we're going to hit Zagrovic with something like 400 or 500 firepower. We're going to hit Adim with about 300. It's going to be very, very painful, frankly, for Kaneko, because I don't think he can stop either of my fleets. I just don't think he has that capacity. Now, I could add another 20 firepower here by removing this Ultranium, but I want that Ultranium back on Soy Boy, I think, because I am going to be burning through it a little bit with the Gigantoplanet attackers. Building multiple GPAs per turn will cost me significant amounts of Ultranium. So I'm going to stick with that for now. And Arion is still churning out CR orgs. They're still expensive, but my Ultranium influx is keeping up with it. It's not quite keeping up with it, but that's okay. I'm fine with burning this pile of Ultranium down a little bit, and I need fast units. If I don't have fast units coming from Arion, then I won't accomplish much. I may segue into... I might actually segue into Megabots. That would be another way to do this, because the total price for a CR org right now is 540. Total price for a Megabot V3 is 367, a little bit under 400. And 1700 complexity. So it's more economical to be doing Megabots right now than orgs. I mean, I've got my lock at price 490, so I think I'm going to stick with the orgs for just a little bit here. Arc cannons are spiking in price. We'll wait for them to drift down a little bit, and then we'll probably shift into them for the last, like, 4 or 5 turns of the game, maybe. But overall, I think I'm in a very strong position to be able to add a few worlds to my account, because, note, right now I have 16 worlds in my empire, which has actually pushed me down, way down, well down the top 10 here, but U-Bones and Travail I'm not going to be able to catch up with. I may well be able to pass Zen Master and Caruso, because right now, if you'll note, I'm down 4 4 planets in my clusters that I'm going to end up with. So my total is actually 20. It's just not being counted right now. And as I've said, I don't think Kaneko can stop me. I think we're going to rampage into his cluster and take a lot of it. We may be able to take Kittylandia. Not sure. He might be able to turtle successfully on Kittylandia and form a pretty solid Helm's Deep-ish defense there, because he has a fair amount of firepower concentrated, and he has a lot of population and ultranium. So if he wants to burn that on defensive units, he can slap down a shit ton of defensive units very, very quickly when I get close. So he can probably, I mean, with 4,900 population and 5,000 ultranium, just demonstrate Hue 9 eliminators, 20 complexity, and the Hue 10 upgrade, which I think is basically the most efficient ground-bound firepower you get. So 100 complexity and 18 ultranium for about 3.5 firepower. 100 complexity, which means he could build, 50 of them in one round. 50 of them would crank his firepower up by, like 150 or more in one round. More because they would fodder each other a little bit, and so the calculation increases that. So he could, right now, if he wanted to do that this turn, he could spike his firepower up to, well over 400. That being so, Kittylandia probably going to be hard to attack, but if he goes on to full defensive like that, then I could just take all of his other worlds. So I think, and especially because he has non-aggression packs with Travail and Star Charger, and both of those guys tend to make non-aggression packs that are game long and don't have an end condition. So I think I'll be able to devour most of Kaneko. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I ended up with pretty much this whole cluster, which would push my world total by the end of the game up to like 25 or so. So I may well be able to end up in the top 3 if I push hard. Now, Shaster here has had an uninterrupted string of victories. He's just been, I don't know what exactly. It seems like he's just been chewing up people who aren't really fighting back much, which, good for him. Shaster is, let's change his color. I know Shaster, once again, of old. Let's make him magenta real quick. So he's got, he's got a lot of worlds, and he's kind of picked off a number of worlds in other people's areas. Actually, let's not make him magenta because U-Bones is magenta. Let's make him slate. Slate's a little bit harder to see, but, well, not against the red. Against the red backdrop, it works pretty well. So yeah, you can see he's big. He's spread out in all directions. He's also burning through his ultranium very, very efficiently. He's building up some Zenrin Warriors V3, presumably to get a few Zenrin Masters. That's fascinating. So, he actually bounced off this world. He lost most of the attacking fleet and then just bounced off of it. Don't know where he's going there, but he lost his, he wouldn't have had these cargo boosters, except apparently Havoc had an auto fleet that he just let bounce off and go back there. And Havoc has built up a huge bundle of heavy cruisers on his homeworld, so he's got a really, really rough fleet here that he can deploy anywhere he wants, but he hasn't actually deployed it, which means he's weak on his frontiers, and his frontiers are fairly small as a result. He does have a pretty sizable but very chaffy fleet over here at Acrogieni. Wait, no, that's a nobody fleet. Never mind that. That's just a hugely, disgustingly auto-builded up nobody world. Never mind, it looked like Tan. And yeah, Havoc's not been playing super actively and has been having a rough go of it. As happens, if you're not playing super actively, you tend to lose a lot of worlds very quickly near the end game. So, in any case, that's my situation. We can look at my fleet deployments right now. I do have a couple of fleets that aren't really going anywhere yet. Sitting on Soy Boy and Gahoon waiting for their moment. I also have these 8x7s on Memer. They're sitting here just as kind of help garrison a little bit because, well, I mean, I have 80 firepower on Memer, but just in case this isn't a feint, I don't think those guys need to be anywhere right now. Let's launch them towards Zagrovic. These guys can hit Zagrovic or Adim in 2 turns, so they're waiting 1 turn. These guys, likewise, can hit either world in 2 turns, so they're waiting and grabbing a couple more. And then on Soy Boy, these guys can actually hit Zagrovic or Adim in 1 turn, so they can wait a couple turns before they have to go anywhere or do anything. So that's the plan. We're just going to try to hit Kaneko with overwhelming force and crumple his border before he has a chance to really react to me. And I think it should be a pretty solid little short victorious war, he says, thus instantly damning himself to destruction. But in any case, thanks for watching. I'll see you in turn 2021? 21. Okay, folks, turn 21. You can see here, I haven't really talked about this, but there has been some drama on the forums. A guy accidentally broke some naps through various confusion of diplomacy, so he was apologizing for that, which is pretty cool. But this turn, so we took Jabakunda, landed on it with a whole bunch of crap. He didn't quite get all of his fleets out of the way in time, so we did lose about 7 firepower, but nothing to worry about. We also took Forsworn back very, very easily, which is great, and we defended Mimer, actually, because this was that small fleet that was incoming, so we bounced that with our defenses here. We did lose a TK Bike version 2, which is annoying, but not critical. Travail captured Kandra. He did hit an auto fleet of A203 crawlers that I didn't manage to stop in time, so once again, that's fine. He actually lost nothing during the whole battle, so lucky for him. Star Charger defended Serendipity from a random auto fleet I forgot to cancel. Travail captured Jabrea, and we took Mira back from Travail in a very long fight that we barely won. So that's all hunky-dory. We'll be recapturing Kandra and Jabrea, and we'll be recapturing Serendipity this turn, Kandra and Jabrea in a couple of turns once things are done. Hoark and Vector here. They had been captured by HCOB, but HCOB actually quit the game on turn 20. So he is gone. I think that was after Ornery was captured. Yeah, the turn after Ornery was captured, he quit the game. Placid Platypus concentrated a truly astonishing quantity of firepower. 16 Gigantoplanet attackers, plus a bunch of incinerators, and over 600 Zenman Warmonks to bust through the defenses of Ornery in a cataclysmic 7-round battle that we didn't see at the time. Firepower-wise, this was actually more even than it looks because of the bonuses that the Theros all-purpose saucers were given, but there weren't really enough of them to turn the tide. Like I said, the overall bonuses that they get in an Orn fleet with Boron Recon Buggies V3 around boost them up to about like firepower 8, I think, if I recall correctly. But that really wasn't, I mean, a difference of 4 or 5 firepower for each of these guys wasn't enough to close the 100 firepower gap between the two fleets. So while it was fairly apocalyptic on both sides, HCOB did come off worse. By round 4, he didn't have a whole lot left except his battle stations and a few megabots, and Placid Platypus managed to come out of it with over 200 firepower remaining, although all of his chaff was annihilated. Look at just round 1. Just round 1, 200 Zenran Warmonks killed in 1 round of fire, so very, very impressive. Destroyed 500 firepower in battle, and Placid Platypus has conquered a pretty significant homeworld, albeit one with a little Ultranium. So it's hard for him to use that population efficiently. I'm also having that problem, as we may have shown on Mimer, for example. Mimer actually has not produced anything for the last 2 turns in an effort to save Ultranium. We're getting some more Ultranium coming in, about 300 this turn, so we should be good. Soy Boy is getting back on the Ult train, as it were, is getting some more Ultranium stocked up. We've bought the Gigantoplanet Attacker licenses, and we're now churning those out pretty quickly. So that's great. We'll have more firepower coming out that way. They will still have quite a bit of travel time to go, but I can just launch them out and meet them with chaff on the way. From Jabakunda, we've hit Jabakunda, we're bouncing. So we've got 240 some odd 230 some odd firepower bouncing down onto Adim. We're concentrating all our TK bikes at Soyboy, and all of them will be striking Zagrovik, where most of my firepower is landing this coming turn. I've got to see our Orgon Mimer, who isn't doing anything. We'll send him to Zagrovik as well. So, this turn hitting Serendipity with a few TK tanks and a GPA. Take that back, and then we'll bounce on from Serendipity. From Serendipity to Zagrovik is 170 units, so they won't quite be able to participate in the festivities, but we couldn't have reached in any case, so that's fine. Adim, in 2 turns, is going to be hit with about 310 firepower, which I think will be enough considering the distance between Adim and Kittylandia. He can't reinforce it in 1 turn. If he wants to reinforce it in time, he'll have to leave now, and so far he sees nothing on sensors at Adim. Although, he may anticipate the fleet from Jabakunda coming for Adim and and move preemptively to defend it. He could do that. However, I've also, of course, got massive, massive fleets incoming to Zagrovic. All told, landing in 2 turns on Zagrovic. I've got, this is actually close to 500 firepower, I believe, because that's, yeah, this is about 500 firepower, because we've got 210 there, 262 there, so that's about 470, 500, a little over 500 landing on Zagrovic in 2 turns, and shortly thereafter, the next turn, we'll be reinforcing Zagrovic with an additional 70, and then the turn after that, we have another 20 or so coming in. So we're pouring firepower in through Zagrovic. The fleets coming to Adim, while large, are in actuality something of an elaborate feint. He could potentially concentrate all of these units and all of these units and hit Adim with, you know, a combined total of approximately 500 firepower, or a little bit more considering what he can build here. And defeat the fleets coming from Javakundo with relatively minimal losses. He'd probably lose 100 or so firepower, and I'd lose, you know, about 300. However, doing so will leave me with more than 500 firepower within striking distance of Kittyland, within 2 turns of Kittylandia, and with him with not a whole lot of chance to reinforce. So we'll kind of have to see how that goes. His other alternative, Zagrovic is only 112 units from Jabrea, so he could take this fleet right now and strike for Jabrea and land this fleet in my cluster. That's actually okay with me. If he does that, I'll have the opportunity to concentrate defenses on Soyboy enough to at least bleed him for taking it, while my fleets will land on Zagrovic the next turn, and almost certainly in that case, capture it immediately. I actually think from Mimer, tell you what, because Mimer is 152 units from Soyboy. I'd like to get some of these Sentinels of Garsaso mobile. So my question is, how many X8s could I build? I could build 28 X8s. That's not really enough. Yeah, we'll just hold on for the moment. But yeah. And we have, you know, 3 Gigantoplanet attackers coming out here, so if we need to, and then a whole bunch of fleets heading into Soyboy. 3 turns away there, 1 turn away with 31 firepower there, 2 turns away with 20 firepower, 2 turns away with 75 firepower. So Soyboy has significant forces arriving that would help hold against the Zagrovic fleet if necessary. On Piranhas, we're also deploying these guys to Zagrovic. I'll tell you what, actually, just to be careful about my defenses, we are going to combine these fleets here and assemble this 40 firepower also at Soyboy instead, and then they can make the hop from there. And yeah, should be good. So we have defensive plans in place. We have fleets going into attack. Koneko is up to 851 firepower, which is still pretty low. If we list battles, yeah, he actually got, the tick is pushing back out and recapturing some worlds from him because he's pulled out of the Ectonia cluster. He's pulling back, he's withdrawing his firepower to concentrate on me, I think, which is a pretty good decision. Now, you may also notice Travail is reaching on down here. Travail has a very long extension of his empire heading this way, which is fine because he's doing really well. Travail overall is up to 26 worlds. And he's not, I think he's basically made peace with everyone around him, and he's just trying to take out the tick before the game ends, which he can definitely do. I would anticipate I may end up in the, I think I can probably reach a top 5 end, but it really does depend on what happens with the war with Koneko. Given that Koneko doesn't actually appear on any of the lists up here at all, I think I can take him. My 1500 firepower will overwhelm his 800 fairly handily, and my additional resources will enable me to build up more quickly than he can. So I think pretty soon we're going to see Koneko falling back on Kittylandia to form his Helm's Deep, his last defense here. He does have a bunch of Psy Haulers, so churning out a ton of cheap ground units could be very dangerous for him, because he can then counter-raid with those Psy Haulers, and I will have to eliminate his force, his fleet, as a fleet in being, before I can really capture all of his worlds. But I think I can make that happen. And, certainly because I have a lot of fast units, I can split up and strike at his lightly defended outer worlds without too much issue, while he's, sitting back there. He has 1,000 Ultranium on Bayatodos. Wow, he has a lot of Ultranium built up that he hasn't been using very efficiently. I mean, I have some Ultranium built up, but less. And mostly it's being used somewhere. Ultranium efficiency is, of course, as I've said several times now, a huge part of playing Ultracore efficiently. Like, the fact that Soy Boy here has only 600 Ultranium and 3,000 population is a sign that I've been doing badly at that over on this side. Arion having a lot of Ultranium means I've been doing kind of badly in a different direction because, well, that means that there's a lot of Ultranium sitting there that isn't currently being used, which is a problem. We're going to start pumping out a whole bunch of X5 Raiders over here on Forsworn. That'll burn through that Ultranium that I'm worried about, but it will give me some more fast chaff, and fast chaff is definitely what I need. This is actually that first lock that I placed, still going over here. Wow. That's the power of stripping planets for resources. In any case, that's the turn, and I'll see you all in turn 22.